It's good. Like, this is good. I would fly the shit out of it. I need to build shark bite now.
I know. I hope they make enough. I almost don't even want to put the video out because everyone's gonna buy it, and then I won't be able to get it anymore.
Yeah, look at that. And look at this sexy shark bite canopy.
Man, that's
Who made that shit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Open Racer,
It's like
HDZero.
the picture is very good. Like, I was impressed. That's very nice.
I
Now
think
you can say this is HD.
The HDZero camera V2. This is perhaps the most significant camera release. Now here is the already exceptional V1 camera. The lens is very close to the body. That means that it doesn't always fit so great in some of our mounts, and to the rear is naked. And the biggest feature about the V1, which is really exceptional, this was a giant leap in image quality next to something like the DigiSight V2 right here, which was the previous, but it still had 16:9 only, like all of the HDZero cameras before it. This V2 finally has 4:3. Oh my goodness. It has a more traditional lens placement here, so it's more adaptable to mounts. And look at this, it actually has the components sunk in there and a true camera backing. So the rear components will be perfectly protected in a hard crash where everything gets jostled around. That could knock one of these micro components off. No worries for that at all on this camera. And of course, 4:3. Finally, racers rejoice.
V2 I think is way better. The vertical field of view is just, it's even better than the V1 with the run cam lens.
With the run cam lens.
It's even better vertical field of view than that. It's not quite as wide as the upgraded lens on the V1, but there's a lot less distortion. Like when you put that real big lens on the V1 camera, the outer edges of it, you get all that warping and fisheye effect.
So the first few cameras, it seemed like DJI was much better quality wise. I would say quality and field of view, it's really close. I would almost say it's better than DJI 25.
For sure. Because on the HDZero system, when you get breakup, you just get those little specks. On DJI, when you get breakup, the 25 megabits just goes to blur. Like everything on the ground is all, it's all just, you can't see any detail on the ground anymore.
I feel like I could fly the same path with DJI and I would get no breakup or no hesitation. But the shark bite, I notice it's weaker to the side. And maybe that's just my stubbies that I'm using are not the best antennas.
Yeah, I use these on my goggles now. These have made it way better.
I noticed like in front of myself I'm good, but if I flew even 100 yards to the side, I was getting way more breakup.
To the side, I don't have any kind of serious breakup anywhere other than here. Here, back there, it's just bad.
You really need to have the best antenna for shark bite. TrueRC is going to come out with those patches for this pretty soon.
It's I'm actually using the same TrueRC singularity.
On the quad. So antenna matters a lot for the HDZero system. Now we finally have the 4:3 that racers have been complaining about. So really almost all of the pain points are gone. It's pretty much racing approved. The only downside is you have to run sort of a larger frame like this or a larger pod like this in this open racer. So this does still end up about 15-20 grams lighter than my analog quads, but that's lighter than my DJI quad by at least another 15-20 grams.
Pretty good weight savings from DJI. It's just a lot bigger of a footprint though.
How many are they gonna have? Because we've had a lot of sourcing issues. I know that's been making me nervous to race on it. I think you've been feeling the same thing, is that we know if we crash it and we don't have a spare, that's it.
Supposedly this V2 is going to be in a bigger run than any of the other cameras, so we'll see if that actually pans out.
Now the nice thing about this is you don't have to worry about like DJI, where you have a bunch of cameras that are like half the frame rate and real laggy. Every camera on HDZero system is low latency. So it's like the image quality of the lens or the field of view is what you might complain about, but everything else is pretty much good. So what I'm really the most worried about is not how it performs so much, but like, are these guys going to be able to stick around? I know that HDZero was actually buying and paying for the manufacturing for the HDZero cameras, and we were a little concerned like how long can they afford to fit the bill before these other companies jump in. But it looks like Fox here is willing to take that on for another round.
Doesn't sound like RunCam is yet. Maybe that's why they're doing a bigger run this time. Maybe RunCam's chipping in a little bit on top of HDZero, because Ryan did say that they're going to have a bigger run of cameras.
What we really want to know is, are any of the VTX manufacturers jumping in? Because we know that you guys are chip manufacturers at HDZero. not necessarily board manufacturers, and that's been kind of the bottleneck. They've taken it on themselves to just put their best effort forward, and they've actually done a pretty good job iterating quickly, but we still need something small.
Companies like Immersion RC or TBS can really probably get that down to an actual 20 by 20 footprint and make it much more usable for everybody.
And TBS and possibly Immersion RC might be feeling a little bit of that Express LRS crunch as a lot of the community jumps over to that open source stuff, so you could rejuvenate the business by injecting some HD video transmitters in there.
For sure, yeah.
So
definitely.
whoever gets to market first, is Rush gonna beat you guys out? We haven't heard from them in a while, or maybe Skyzone will do it. So who knows? Orca says that they got 3 HD products coming out. It's speculated that one's gonna be a module and maybe one's a VTX.
That would be nice.
I wonder if it's their own stuff or it's gonna be compatible with HDZero. We'll see.
Now, what are you going to accompany that with? Most of us are going to be using this 20 by 20 Race V2. It's still a little bit big, but it fits in almost any frame, or you may be using the old Whoop board, which is also a substantially great value at only $50. I'm going to be building this up for my tiny trainer. I'm going to use the V1 because the 4x3 isn't as critical if you're going a little bit slower. Now, the main thing with a lot of this HDZero gear is that it's just been hard to come by. I guess the popularity is rising. You don't want a situation where, like the DJI system, all of a sudden you had a few camera offerings like this Polar. The only cameras people really wanted to use were the OG DJI cam or the Nebula Pro. We don't want that situation here, so it's good that we really have 4 very usable cameras. The V2 is the only one that can do 4x3, so I think that this one is going to be much more popular, especially among racers. Freestyle and micro crew won't care about this so much, so maybe they'll leave this camera for the racers, hopefully.
Look what Derek cooked up. Tell us about this, Derek.
Well, I tried to rig up something that give us a little bit better penetration for over the garage, as well as some of the bushes that we have over here. Joe's running into a lot of trouble having a lot of static and such. Ooh. And so I just thought as an experiment, I might just like put my module out here, just see if it actually gets a better reach and such. But I also have the Bifrost monitor. Ooh. So if anybody wants to watch the flight, they can actually watch the flight, and this is picking up its own receiver and such. You can actually take it and watch it.
HDMI out from the monitor too?
It does have an HDMI out, so you could, if you wanted to run your goggles, you could run it off of that. The Bifrost itself is actually what was originally the ground station for the Fat Shark system.
It's totally compatible. What happened, midair? Or you just crashed in the same spot?
I just decided to, you know, pick a little bit of leaves home.
Yeah.
So
That was just finished flying for this round.
Yeah.
Like, that was enough.
yeah, because Neil saw him crashing and like, all right, Neil is like, I'm done too.
Yep, I win.
You might as well help with the landscaping.
Yeah, you know, and just wanted to walk my boy to get his quad, so figured I'd display my. So that's the kind of community we got around here.
Yeah.
That's it. Just fucking. Oh, yeah, I'll go with you to get your quad, no problem.